What's going on, guys? My name is Alan, and welcome to my October Horror Fest, where I'll be doing various Halloween-themed videos for the month of October. And today's going to be a very special edition of Reviewed, which is the show I review movies, and that's pretty much it. And today's review is going to be over the film Antichrist, which, if you've heard anything about this film, one of the things that often comes up after saying the movie's name is, oh yeah, this movie is fucking disgusting and disturbing. Which it is. I'll not lie, this movie will probably disgust some of you if you watch it. To me, it wasn't. I'm not really affected by stuff like this so much. It's not really a big deal to me, but I will still say this movie has some very disturbing and very grotesque visuals that will make you probably look away from your TV screen or whatever you're watching it on. It is a very hard movie to watch at some points, mostly because mutilation is it's a big thing in this film. Again, I won't say of what, but there's a lot of gore and a lot of just disgusting, like, what the fuck am I watching kind of moments. Which, if that disturbs you, if you're easily disturbed or you have a weak stomach or you just ate, don't watch this film, because it will disturb you. I mean, it does a really good job at that, and it's definitely part of the theme of the film. The main theme of this film, I would say, is depression. I actually believe, if you looked, I think I looked up just a trivia about this film on IMDb, and they talked about how the director, Lars von, I think it's Ter, I don't know his actual last, I can't pronounce his last name, he's a Danish filmmaker, and around the time this film came out, he was in the hospital for depression, I think, and he played a big role in this film. It's also, he directed Melancholia, which is another, from what I've heard, even more depressing than this film. This film's atmosphere and its cinematography really added that kind of feeling of depression, and it does a really good job with that. The cinematography in this film, which I'll get onto now, is amazing. There are some moments in this film where the visuals just look really good, and there's actually times when it kind of slows down a little bit. And you almost, if you couldn't tell if it was moving, it would almost look like a picture, like a painting. It looks really good. And then there are moments in this film where it'll just go silent. It'll just go completely silent. No music, no noises in the environment. It goes completely silent, which you can almost assume in a horror film that something is going to happen. And it's done very well in this film, and it was, I would say, definitely one of my favorite parts of the film was the cinematography, and the atmosphere that's set in this film is, the atmosphere is depressing almost. It takes place, majority of this film takes place in the woods, and just the woods in general. You know, it's a big thing to put a horror movie in the woods, but this, well, we'll say, is not a typical horror film. But takes place in the woods, I said, and just the animals, just the grass, just the vegetation in general, the trees. It just adds a very eerie setting to the film, and also there's occasionally mist, or mist, I guess you would say, what you'd call that, where it makes it even more depressing and disturbing. But it really, as I said, it makes this movie even more about depression. Also, the story is about depression too. The two main characters, which are never given a name, they are just called she and he. Actually, this film stars Willem Dafoe, which is pretty cool. I mean, I haven't seen too many. I like Willem Dafoe, but I have not, for some reason, not seen many of his films for some reason. I think I have, but I don't own too many of them. But he's amazing in this film, as he usually is. But he plays a husband and a wife, which I'm drawing a blank on the actress's name, but she is also very good. During the film actually opens, they lose their son, and I won't say how he really dies, but the mother, you can tell from early on, she takes it the worst. I mean, right after the child dies, something happens to her, and you can really tell that she just did not take it well at all, of course, which is expected. I mean, she lost her son, and that's why they go to the woods. That's why they do all these things. It's kind of the catalyst for this film, and it's very disturbing what she does. Especially she is just. I don't want to say anything about her because I don't want to spoil it for you. If you actually go to watch it, but she is the main. She is the main character. I mean, the father, so is the husband, but she is the real reason why this film is the way it is. And I will say that a few people have pointed out that this film is artsy fartsy, and I do feel that is true in some points, because it feels like this film's main focus was the cinematography and the scenery, which, as I said, is very good. Because if you compare the story to that, it just doesn't hold up. It wouldn't hold up without those things in the film, which can go for any film, but especially in this film, because it doesn't really. If this was set anywhere else, it wouldn't fucking make any sense. So this movie, I will say, actually does feel like a really good art film, if you want to call it that. Which I know some people just have an unconditional hatred for art films just because they're art films, which I don't. I don't watch too many of them, but I don't hate them. I think this movie, if you don't mind them and you have a strong stomach, give it a watch. I mean, this movie is not too bad. I think it's about 108 minutes long, so it's not long either by any means. So I think it's worth a watch if you have a strong stomach and you want to just watch something that's different, because this movie is very different. This is probably one of the stranger films that I've seen in a while. It's a very strange and very different movie, so if you're looking for something different this Halloween, give it a watch. I mean, it's not too terribly scary. There are some moments that you will, you'll be scared by it, but it's not too bad. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this film. If you enjoyed the video, that's great, and I will see you guys later.